I hope I caught that great Mexican music coming out of the taxi cab. Taxis are so much of a feature of rural Mexico, where people don't own cars, and urban Mexico, both. There's a real strong tendency for people to not own cars and to take taxis, which I think is a great model. Great model, rather than one or two or three cars per family. No, it's a way better model, and is born out of poverty, but I think it's a pretty wonderful model. So this, I think I'm kind of out of the wind here. Tecate. There's about 8 Tecate signs on Main Street. That's Main Street. Carretera, interstate highway. The key feature of El Diamante is it's a 400-person town with a road that brings, it doesn't look like it right now, but an awful lot of traffic, and especially big noisy trucks through here. Yeah. So what do I want to say? Small town life. What are the ways that small town life is similar here to the American South? Well, it's so local. It's local, because the family with whom I've spent almost all my time here are extraordinarily healthy and functional and beautiful people. And even though they're poor, they're really quite happy. And I love being around them. I get very happy being around them. Now, just if you went straight through here, no, over there. You probably can see it's Tamales by Diana. That's Diana's shop. I have another friend in this town, Diana, there, who has her own tamale shop. And after my first time at her place, we had a really great meeting, really talked, and then had a tremendous back and forth on WhatsApp that evening. And the reason it burgeoned into so much was because she confided to me how much she hates it here and just wants to get out and wants to go to the U.S. And I really kind of went after her because I thought there was some big flaws in her thinking. And especially after getting to know the really happy family at just the other end of the strip here. She's at the south end, very south end. There's one of the big trucks. And my other friends are at the very north end. And I said, don't overgeneralize. Don't assume that... Hola, amigo. Buenas tardes.
¿Estás sacando video?
Viejo?
Hay que sacar video.
Ya.
Ya. Nos vemos.
Me gusta mucho este pueblo.
¿Está bien?
Sí. I didn't understand what he said, but I came back with something that satisfied him. That's the guy I just talked to, who was so sweet and engaging. I just did another tape about him. Yeah, well, it's a town where they recognize that you're not from here, because in a town of 340 people or something, now he may have seen me here before. I've been here 3.5 weeks, but just at first sight, they know this person is not from here because I don't recognize him. So online with Diana, I'd had a lot of back and forth, and basically was saying, don't assume that the experience you're having in that shop there is what Mexico is like, and sure don't assume that it's going to be better when you get to the U.S. Because I'm fleeing the U.S. personally, and I love it in Mexico. So I said, number one, your shop is tiny. There's no space. And you're cooking tamales, these boiling kettles all day. It's hot in your shop, and there's not a lot of air moving, and you're right up against the carretera. You can see that there. She's right up against the street and right near a speed bump, so it's really noisy, really noisy. And you're working alone. She has nice banter with her vecinos, her neighbors in the adjoining shops, but she's working alone all day. my friends at the other end of town are working with family, and the two staff members are like family. One of them even lives at the house, and the other young woman is very much like family. I mean, they must have both worked there a long time. Neither of them is making much money, but they have a nice experience, and it's a relatively stress-free workday. But I said, you're working alone, it's hot, it's cramped, it's right up against the road, you don't have air moving through here. And by the way, all of you restaurants, situational thing is that this little pueblo here has way too many restaurants. There's like about 10 restaurants here. Nobody's gonna make a buck that way if it's all location, location, location. And how did it happen that all the tamale restaurants are all together? There's like 5 restaurants in a row that are basically about tamales. And at the north end of town, it's more enchiladas and tacos and seafood. So Coppell delivers, huh? Interesting, I like that store. Electronics. Yeah. So a lot of it is situational. You're projecting out thinking that what Mexico is like is what's going on in your shop. And just at the other end of town, people are having such a diametrically different experience. Yeah. And so the other thing that's like small town life is that she apparently was offended by me pushing the way I did, and that's not Mexican to push. And I was very affirming. I was extraordinarily affirming. I said, your tamales are so great. If you want to go to the U.S., go and make some money and bring it back. Because you could, if you got in the right locations, right setup, your tamales would take off like crazy because they're 4 times better than anything I had in the U.S. Anywhere. So I was really affirming, but it's very Mexican and very Southern to be indirect and not challenging, and if you're irked to not express it. Because the guy I met in her shop a day or 2 later and gave my card to let me know, he says, by the way, Diana told me as soon as you left that nothing you say makes any sense to her at all. And I think he liked me and was offended by her backbiting like that. So I'm avoiding her shop. I'm avoiding her shop now because the last couple times I was there, it was really flat, really off, and I don't want to. I like her tamales, but I'll get them elsewhere. I just don't want to deal with it. So, but that meant that I am avoiding. This is really, well, how's this for a small town experience? I'm avoiding walking down that section of Main Street, which is, it's not a very long Main Street. So I have to cut off early. I think she's actually not there yet now. She leaves early. Yeah, small town life where if you get crosswise with somebody, everything gets pear-shaped then. Okay, enough